Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Austin Powers in Goldmember. And this movie came out in 2002. And I really loved the first Austin Powers movie. I think the second one is pretty good. This one, unfortunately, I thought was pretty disappointing, and I'll get into it in more detail later. But the things I like are most of the performances. Mike Myers is great. He plays multiple characters in this movie, and I really love seeing him on screen, and he carries this movie a lot. And they introduced new characters in this movie, and he also plays, I think he plays like 4 characters in this movie. I'm not even kidding. He's definitely giving it to his all, and I liked certain characters more than others, but he was good. I'll say that. And this movie does do its best to capture the same tone as the first 2 movies, and this movie gets really, really funny at points, and I really liked the second half. I think that's the best part of the movie, and that's about all of my positives, unfortunately. And my biggest issue with this movie is that in comparison to the first 2 movies, this movie feels incredibly toned down and restrained and just sanitized, and it was just boring in comparison to the first 2. And the first 2, it feels like they are not restrained whatsoever, and they can just do whatever they want, and they have tons of fun doing it. There's plenty of sex jokes, and they're all funny because of how they're presented. And I love our character of Austin Powers, and I love how he's just a spy who is just so detached from the word normal. And you put him in to these separate scenarios, and it's just hilarious how he interacts with it. But then you get into this movie, and it feels normal, and that might be because I've gotten used to it, and I know what to expect, but at the same time, I didn't feel that way about the second movie, and that might be because they had new ideas, and it had things that I wanted to explore, and the pacing was really smooth, and the acting is really good consistently, and this movie, it doesn't have that. While I do like most of the performances, the only one I didn't like was Beyonce. I don't think she's very good in this movie. I would say that she was one of the weakest parts of the movie. And speaking of weak things in this movie, in the first 2 movies there were scene transitions, and it was really funny whenever they did that. This movie doesn't have any scene transitions. I think it's just fade to black, I believe, and that's about it. And then fading in from black. And it feels just restrained, and it just sucked up the style from this series that I love. And I don't know why you would do that. As a fan of these movies, give me what I want and stop taking away things that I would want to see. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I kind of want to talk about absurd situations that the first 2 movies had. And this movie tries to do that, and sometimes it works. The best part of the movie was like reading the subtitles. That was pretty funny. And the whole peeing in the fountain, that was pretty funny. But aside from that, there's not really many absurd sequences in this movie, and most of my enjoyment comes from the second half of the movie, and the first half of this movie was kind of dull, and it had nowhere to go. It was a bit of a prequel, and it almost felt like it was trying to be a real movie and not so much a parody. And that was really disappointing for me, because the first 2 movies, they feel like their own thing, but they also feel like parody movies, and it's really exciting, and I have no idea where they eventually wind up going, and it's fun. But here it's a lot more obvious where it's gonna wind up, and it's just unsatisfying, and a decent amount of this movie is just not funny, which is just not what you want. And Michael Kane, I like him in this movie, but he has like nothing to do in this movie. He's in maybe 3 or 4 scenes, and that's it. And he doesn't add anything to the movie aside from a really good performance that has nothing else to his character, other than he's just Austin Powers' father. And this movie is about Austin Powers having father issues, which didn't really add to the movie. And if you took that element out of the movie completely, then you would have lost nothing. And that's about all I have to say about Austin Powers in Goldmember. It's competent. It does manage to capture the same tone and feel as the first 2 movies at certain points, mostly in the second half, but aside from that, this movie has nothing really to offer. It has some funny jokes, but that's it. And as a fan of this series, I would have wanted more, and I think the first 2 movies have tons to offer, and every scene has a lot going on, and it's so entertaining to watch for me. But here, it had basically nothing. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Austin Powers in Goldmember a 4 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below what you thought of Austin Powers in Goldmember down below. And my social media links, they will all be in the description down below, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next video up. And that's going to be for a complete collection video of every TV show that I have. So look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.